Welcome to the third video in our tips and tricks series. We have done 2 more videos. The first one we did was booking your holiday and the second one was planning your holiday. We'll link those below. But
today we're talking about Disney Fast Passes.
Fast Passes.
Yes. So Disney is known for offering Fast Passes worldwide. And in Walt Disney World specifically, it's Fastpass Plus.
Yeah, they get the upgraded system.
Yes. So the important thing with Fastpass Plus is it's absolutely free, no cost whatsoever. But Fastpass Plus doesn't take you to the front of the line, but it does save you a considerable amount of time in queuing.
Yeah, sometimes we found it really can take you to the front of the line. Other times you may still have to wait 20-30 minutes. It's kind of a percentage of the queue time. And I think there is some sort of rule, but in our experience we can't be specific enough. But normally if the standby line is like 90 minutes, I would say Fastpass you should be through in like 20-30.
Yeah,
sometimes quicker. It just depends how many Fastpasses have gone.
But there has in the past been this misconception that Fastpass Plus does get you straight to the front of the line, but it's not always the case.
So we want to talk about today specifics around Fastpasses, how we do our Fastpasses, and just any tips we've from our trips have found. We really like the new system. So the old system was you took your ticket up to a Fastpass machine and it gave you a return time. And it dictated what that return time was. So if any of you remember Toy Story Mania,
wow,
it used to be at park opening, everyone used to run for the Fastpass machines for Toy Story Mania, and sometimes your return time wouldn't be until like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So
the good thing about the new system, and I say new, it's been around for years, but the Fastpass Plus system lets you pick in advance.
So the way the Fastpass system works is you can choose 3 Fastpass rides or attractions, and then once you've finished your 3rd Fastpass, you can then choose 1 additional extra Fastpass per time. And if you by chance finish that additional Fastpass, you can again choose another Fastpass 1 at a time until that day's up.
Yeah, the really good thing is once you've used your initial 3, you can then get Fastpasses at different parks. So one of the rules is your original 3 all have to be at the same park. So if you're going to go to Magic Kingdom, all 3 have to be Magic Kingdom. But then say it's midday and you finished your 3, you then want to go to Hollywood Studios in the afternoon, you can then book 1 at Hollywood Studios. It's all managed by the My Disney Experience app, so you will need to download that. It's a free app, it's official Disney, and it allows you to create an account, link your tickets, and that's where you'll manage all your Fastpasses for your group on there. When you need to do your Fastpass is basically determined by where you're staying. So if you're not staying at Disney, you'll be able to do them 30 days before, and you'll have to do 1 day at a time. And it opens up at midday UK time. And if you're staying on site, it's 60 days before, and you can actually do your full 2 weeks. If you're going for a 2-week holiday, you could do the whole 2 weeks at once, which makes things really good for getting those hard to get rides, which we'll come on to.
Yes.
Just make sure you've linked your tickets in My Disney Experience. So everybody needs to have a linked active ticket, and you also need to make sure your resort reservation is linked. Otherwise it won't give you the right settings to be able to get your fast passes at the right times.
Yes. So the easiest way to manage it in the My Disney Experience app, if you're going as a group, is to set everyone up as friends and family and have you as the lead organizer, shall we say.
Yeah.
So you can manage all the reservations, just to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, especially if you want to get on the same attractions, but you can pick different attractions for different people. So that is one option as well. So you can manage it all centrally. It means not everyone has to do it at the same time.
So Fastpass is being offered at the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks, so not water parks. There is a tiering system in place for Animal Kingdom, Epcot and Hollywood Studios, but there is no tiering system at Magic Kingdom.
So you're probably wondering what a tiering system is. If you're new to Fastpasses, what it means is some rides are a tier 1, and they're the popular rides, your biggest queue line rides, and then there's tier 2 lines. So a Magic Kingdom is probably the easiest place to start. There are no tiers. Everything is equal. You can just pick 3 rides that offer Fastpass. Really easy. We'll talk more about what rides we should do a little bit later. At Hollywood Studios, Epcot and Animal Kingdom, you have to pick 1 tier 1 ride and then 2 tier 2 rides. So what it means is that you can't pick all the best rides at once. And a good example is with Epcot. So Soarin', Test Track and Frozen are probably the 3 most popular rides, and they bring the largest queues. You can only pick one of those to Fastpass. And that's why in our vlogs you'll often see us either running for Test Track and then going for Soarin' Fastpass, or the other way around. So we try and get the other ones done. So yeah, there is a tier system in place, and it does make it a little bit more challenging, but I suppose it's fairer.
Fairer, yeah. So it doesn't mean that everyone's booking up all of those tier 1 attractions at the same time.
Yeah, and as we said before, you can only have 1 park's worth of theme park fast passes done in advance. So if you're picking Magic Kingdom, you have to stick with all 3 at Magic Kingdom. You can't do 1 in Magic Kingdom and 1 in Epcot.
So we'd just like to share a few of our tips when we're booking our fast passes. So one of the main things is go for early times. The reason being is to free up additional fast passes throughout the rest of your day. It's something that we've used in the past and it's worked really well.
Yeah, you can really pick up like some decent fast passes for the afternoon as well. So it's worth doing.
Yeah. Another important point to make is if you book an evening fast pass, then you can't do any more until you've used that evening fast pass up. So for example, if you've booked an 8 PM fast pass, you cannot book any additional fast passes until you've used that 8 PM slot. So it's something really important to remember. And lastly, don't give up. So if your time comes around to book your fast passes and the attraction isn't available for the time that you want, keep checking the app, because Disney do release those periodically and one may come up after the time becomes available.
Yeah, and also once you've used that, once you've scanned in for your last fast pass, so say you've done a 9 till 10, a 10 till 11, 11 till 12, if you scan in for your 3rd fast pass at 11:01, as soon as you scan in, the system then recognises you can get more fast passes. So for example, when we're going on our 3rd ride of the day, while we're in the line, we will try and look for more fast passes. So you can get another one from like 11:30, which means you've actually managed quite a lot in that time. And also switch your fast passes up. So sometimes we'll book, say a Na'vi river journey was the only one we could get. So we could only get Na'vi or Flight of Passage, and we couldn't get Flight of Passage. Take Na'vi and then try and modify the fast pass, and then sometimes you might see a Flight of Passage come up. So just some tips for some of the really tough rides. Now, at certain parks, there are certain rides that are very hard to get, and you may have seen already online, but rides like Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, Slinky Dog at Toy Story Land, 7 Dwarfs Mine Train at Magic Kingdom, these can be really difficult to get. And our advice is, if you don't get the time you want, take what they're offering. So with 7 Dwarfs Mine Train, we, on our recent trip in Christmas, we could only get a 10 PM at night. So we took it and then we just kept modifying until we got an earlier time. And then eventually an 8 AM was released, which was the time we wanted.
Which was the time, and we snapped that up.
Yeah, so keep trying. They also release more availability, which Rich mentioned, but they also do it on the day. So there is some rides that get to like 11 AM, and if they haven't used up the fast passes or the ride's quieter than expected, they'll release additional stock. And we've many times got fast passes same day.
Yeah.
So when you're in the park, you may have a fast pass for a ride you don't really want to ride, or try modifying it, and you never know.
And a good example of that is on our recent trip with Amanda and Mitchell, when we were waiting to get into Epcot. We were literally trying to find a fast pass just as we were entering in the park, and we managed to get one.
Yeah,
so
that was for Soaring.
And that was for Soaring, so that is a prime example about how just to keep checking and it could come up.
So now we're going to get into the real gritty stuff, which is what rides we think you should fast pass from our experience, and what the best strategy is. The first thing to note is we tend to fast pass the rides with the longest queues. They may not be our favourite rides, but they may be the ones we want to do, but we don't want to queue for them.
Yeah.
If you're a first timer, we recommend using the My Disney Experience app, because it will show wait times. And that's a really good way, where you've got no idea what ride's which. It'll give you a really good idea of what the popular rides are. Because if I open up the map now and we have a look and we see that, well, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train's 100 minutes.
Which is pretty standard.
And Small World's 5 minutes, you know, you're not going to want to fast pass Small World because that's going to be not a good use of your fast pass that day.
Yeah.
So we're going to cover a bit more specifics about that.
Yeah. Also, one thing to mention is think about where the rides are based in the park. So in the My Disney Experience app, you can actually load up the map of the park and you can actually see the distance or how far apart the two rides are from A to B in terms of where your fast passes are coming up. So you don't want to be hopping from one side of the park to the other side of the park. You want to be utilising your time as best as possible. So think about whether there are rides on the way. For example, if you're in Magic Kingdom and you've got a Space Mountain Fast Pass and your next Fast Pass is Big Thunder Mountain, they're completely opposite sides of the park. So could you maybe do Little Mermaid on the way or Small World on the way that doesn't involve a Fast Pass? So just think about those sorts of things.
Yeah, it's really good to fill those. We do the same thing at Epcot with, like, between Soarin' and Test Track, you've got Nemo and Figment, and they tend to have short waits, so you can always fill them on the way as well.
Yeah.
So let's start with the big park, Magic Kingdom. Everything's tier 1, and obviously most rides can fast pass, but there are always some rides at the park that don't have fast pass system, but it tends to be quite few now.
Yeah.
So there are certain rides that we would go for as a fast pass, and it would either be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan's Flight, Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain or Space Mountain. We tend to find that those rides have the biggest line, and in our planning we'll pick 3 of those as our fast passes initially. There are rides you can do when the park opens, and they tend to be really short walk-ons because everyone's flooding to the popular rides. So if you head to some of these rides, you can get them in. And one strategy we have is we'll book our first fast pass from 9 AM till 10 AM. And we know that we could go at 9:59 and get our fast pass, but we don't want to use our fast pass straight away because then we've got a load of time where we could be doing other attractions. So we might go for rides like Buzz Lightyear, Under the Sea with Little Mermaid, Dumbo, Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean. These type of rides have like 5-minute waits when the park opens, and they're pretty much walk on.
Pretty much walk on, yeah.
So why not go to a couple of those, get them done, and then go to your fast pass? And it just means you get more rides in. Other rides that we really don't think are worth fast passing or don't really have long waits are Carousel of Progress, a great air conditioning break, Rest Your Legs,
Yeah.
the People Mover. The line can get a little bit long sometimes, but normally it's pretty much walk on.
Normally it's pretty, but it has, it does get a line sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah, pretty much a walk on.
And with all of these things we're saying, sometimes there'll be times of year where there are busy rides on these attractions, but this is generally what we, in our experience.
Yeah.
Teacups, the Enchanted Tiki Room, and Mickey's Fill Our Magic. So they tend to be rides that are either high capacity or indoor, and they just don't tend to be as popular. So that's Magic Kingdom.
So then we come to Epcot, and Epcot's the first part we're going to talk about that does use the tiering system.
The best park.
The best part, yeah. Just add that in, our favourite, yeah. So this is typically what we would do. So with tier 1, so you've got to pick one ride for tier 1, and the 3 major attractions in our eyes that typically have the longer queue lines are Frozen Ever After, especially with the new film coming out this year, Soarin' and Test Track.
Yeah, we'll always pick one of them. The thing to note, there are 2 other things in tier 1, and that's Illuminations and the character spot where you meet Mickey, Goofy and Minnie.
Minnie, yes.
And the reason we are not fast passing those is Illuminations is right at the end of the day. So again, it's normally 9 PM. So you're locking up your fast passes for the whole day, and you can get a good spot at Illuminations. Also with the character spot, it's air conditioned. It's a nice place to wait, so you can queue there and feel quite comfortable.
There are some attractions where you're like, well, actually, I don't mind queuing for that ride because of the AC. And then for the tier 2, so it's picking 2 rides in tier 2, we would typically do Nemo and the Seas, Spaceship Earth. Now with Spaceship Earth, it's important to note that it is coming up for a refurb. Quite a lengthy refurb, so we have noticed in our recent trips the popularity of Spaceship Earth has increased it is getting those wait times. Now go back, 2 years ago maybe.
It was walk on.
Pretty much walk on every time we were going there at various points of the day, but it's getting some waits at the moment, so we would choose that in our tier 2 as one of our picks there. Mission Space,
No.
Not something we're overly keen on trying.
No.
We did it once on our first trip, I think we've mentioned this before, felt really unwell. So I don't think we'll do that in a rush again.
No.
Living with the Land and Figment, yeah. And then low lines, we would say, is Pixar Short Film Festival, Turtle Talk with Crush, which we did for the first time on our recent trip. That was really awesome. The Grand Fiesta Tour and Oh Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they tend to not have too much weight and just easy just to slot in whenever.
Yeah.
So at Hollywood Studios, we would always try and aim for Slinky Dog Dash. That is just the most popular ride at the moment. However, with Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars opening later this year, I think it's going to shake up stuff. So it'd be really interesting to see what they do with the tiers.
Yeah.
Because I can't see them putting the 2 new Star Wars rides in tier 1 and all the other, is a lot of tier 1 then.
A lot of tier 1, yeah.
So, but for now, we would aim for Slinky Dog Dash because that tends to have the longest lines in the park. And then Alien Swirling Saucers doesn't tend to have that long a line.
I mean, it's relatively new, but in the last couple of trips we've taken, it just isn't bringing in the lines that, would warrant a fast pass.
And then you've got Toy Story Mania, that's also a tier 1. So our advice would be take a Slinky Dog, and then for your tier 2s, you've got Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Star Tours and Fantasmic. Again, Fantasmic, the fast pass seating is good, so maybe the Fantasmic one is one to do after you've already had a day in the park. So say you went to Magic Kingdom in the morning and used 3 fast passes and then try and pick up a Fantasmic in the evening, so it won't impact your day. We tend to do Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster because they tend to have the longest waits. Star Tours doesn't always have a long line.
It
can sometimes.
It can sometimes, but typically not.
And the ones we wouldn't really fast pass or don't have fast pass would be Indiana Jones Show, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast and Muppets 4D. They tend to be high capacity rides or shows, and if there's something you really want to do, then definitely fast pass it if you're not wanting to wait too long, but they tend to have not too long a waits.
And last but not least, Animal Kingdom. So you've got the 2 top rides in tier 1 for Animal Kingdom, which is Avatar Flight of Passage, which is hands down the one you need to focus on. Yeah, that is the major ride, and the Na'vi River Journey as well.
Yeah, our strategy is to get a fast pass for Flight of Passage and then run to Na'vi when the park opens, because Na'vi, when it opens, we've done walk on quite a few times, or it's like literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can get it done, and then you've got your fast pass for later.
Yeah. And then in tier 2, you have Expedition Everest, Kali River Rapids, if you fancy getting wet while you're in Animal Kingdom, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and also Rivers of Light.
And it's the same thing with Rivers of Light. Again, it's an evening thing, so we wouldn't necessarily do that. Expedition Everest is the one for us.
Expedition Everest is always pretty much the fast pass that we would select.
Yeah, Kali River Rapids really depends on the weather. In the cooler months, that ride doesn't have much of a wait because it's cold, but in the hot months, it can have quite a wait on it.
Everyone's trying to get cooled down.
Yeah.
And then low lines is It's Tough to Be a Bug, Dinosaur, and Meet Disney Pals.
Yeah. And we've not listed everything in each tier on here because it would be too long. What we've listed is the rides that we would tend to fast pass, or we think are more high priority. So it's important when you go through, certainly with, depending on the age group of your guests. So if you're going to Magic Kingdom with young children, you really might focus on Dumbo and The Little Mermaid as your kind of number ones. Yeah. You may not want to do the bigger rides. So it really does come down to what is more perfect for your trip as well.
Yeah.
You can get the full lists on My Disney Experience, and there's also a website which will link below, which also has all the tiers explained, which is really good.
Yeah.
So we really hope you found that useful.
Yeah, My Disney Experience is a big thumbs up. We've both had really great experiences using it. And
when it works.
When it works. It does typically work, but it has some downtime. But it's the perfect tool to use when planning a Disney trip.
Yeah, it can be a little bit glitchy sometimes, but don't let it put you off. Just keep at it, and sometimes you have to close the app and open it again, but is a good app.
And it's free.
Free. So yeah, also the other place we have is our Facebook group, which we will link below, LRDreaming group. I know a lot of you are already on there, but if you want some opinions on which fast passes to do in which park, you could ask the question and get maybe 20 or 30 different opinions, which really helps.
And we've said this before, because people do their trips in various different ways, and there is no right way of doing it.
Yeah, this is just where we think the longest lines are. And it will change and evolve, and the My Disney Experience app is really something to keep an eye on.
Definitely.
You know, it's pretty obvious when you open it up and, you know, Flight of Passage is a 2-hour wait. That's the one to fast pass.
Yeah, make use of the Wi-Fi in the parks, and just, you know, keep having it out and just keep checking.
Yeah, we'd really love to hear what you think are the rides to fast pass below. So please comment below if you could put which park and which fast pass you think are most important, and also let us know what video subjects you'd want us to cover. Now we have got a few more listed that we want to do in this tip series.
Yeah.
But we'd really love to hear what you'd want us to talk about and share. We've tried to cover ones that we are asked regularly.
Yeah.
So these are questions that come up a lot, like which ride should I fast pass? So we've done this video, and how do you book? And that's why we did the booking one.
But there may be a topic that we haven't thought of that you're crying out for. So if there is that topic, definitely mention it in the comments below, and we will look into it.
Yeah. Thanks very much for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.